Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, your source for nerddom news and commentary. I am just now realizing that my shirt is blending into the green screen, and with me is your host, is your resident Green Lantern Professor, Travis Grossman.
If you hadn't have said anything, I would never have noticed.
Yeah, so I was going to say, you've definitely seen this before, because I wore this to when we went to see the Hello Mega show, whenever we saw Weezer, Green Day, and Fall Out Boy. It's like a teal blue, but I guess it's deciding it's green. But you can distinctly see the shapes. You can distinctly see the shapes still, which is what's entertaining me. We have a news roundup for you guys. As Travis said, I texted him the other day, that news has had it for too good for too long without getting round up. We have some fun stuff to talk about. We have some discourse conversations. But before we jump into that, Travis, what's new, buddy?
I don't sleep anymore. I go to school. I work. That's it.
Been a busy lad. You've been a busy lad.
Yeah. I'm so close.
You are so close. You're so close. So when you say done, that is school or like the job / internship you're doing?
Both.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that internship is done first week of May, and then I have one more semester of school left to do in the fall.
That makes me very happy to hear. You are busting your ass, and I speak for anybody listening or watching when I say I'm very proud of you. And as much as you like to joke about being a sleepy, lazy bastard, your work ethic speaks volumes, and I am very proud of you, friend.
I'm sleepy and lazy because in my off time, I'm like, man, I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
I just want to, like, on Sunday, I think it was Sunday, I literally didn't move almost the entire day.
I literally didn't move.
Like, I woke up, I used the bathroom, went back to sleep. And then even after I woke up, I just sat in my bed. I was like, not even in like a depressed, like, oh, I'm dissociating and I'm depressed and I can't force myself to move way, but into like,
you're just exhausted.
Man, if my body moves, it's gonna slug around. I'm just gonna have to crawl.
This Lieutenant Dan your way downstairs. No, I feel you, man. I've been working a lot too. I've said it on the show. One of two day jobs might be condensed down to one pretty soon. I don't want to speak too much on that before I know what's going on, but your boy might be looking at a promotion here soon. One of them their gigs. I'm going full Luthen rail. I'm damned to use the tools of my enemy to defeat them, and I might end up becoming a manager of some sort here, which is I feel like a sellout. But no, I'm kidding. Yep. But no, man, I hear you. The bar I work at,
finance, man, you can't.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean?
We are officially not allowed to throw this background up anymore. But yeah, no, I hear you, man. The one of my day jobs, they finally decided they're going to be closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, and oh my god, I almost cried the day they made that announcement. I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Because that means I have at least one guaranteed day off. Because one of my jobs, one of my main days is Tuesday. So it's like, I'm not getting that off, really. But I was like, I might actually have like a guaranteed day off every week, which then turned into me volunteering my time to the other job, naturally, because I can't help myself. But all of that said, we're busy guys, but we are here to round up that news for you. Couple fun little plugs up top. First, Ionized Bastards. As always, we are 3 episodes into season 2, and I just want to put this little disclaimer out there. I don't know how many episodes there are going to be in season 2. Michael has not told us. We got like halfway through season 1. We were like, how many episodes are you planning? And he was like, oh, we're about halfway there, and it ended up being like 7 or 8 episodes. So we're 3 in to season 2. It's been a lot of fun. Travis, I will regale you with a story that was told on KNR this past week that I was tight-lipped about because I didn't want to spoil episode 2. But now that episode 3 is out, I feel inclined. I feel like I'm safe to say this. So keep a long story short, episode 2 is this like Mad Max style pod race. Okay, so Scotty Jarod of the Bombad cast is playing a guest character who was our pod pilot, and then me and the rest of the Ionized Bastards have to defend him and the pod from other pods that also have like fighters on them. We finish the race, we win the race, which woohoo, and then as we're crossing the finish line, a missile comes out of nowhere, parallel to the racetrack, and boom, takes out the pod, kills Scotty's character. And then we scatter, we hit the ground over the finish line. And then out of nowhere, this Mandalorian lands in front of us and starts letting shots off into Jerry the Cannon Junkie's character, who is a droid. So he's like letting off ion rounds. And Jerry's on death's door. And Alden and Dan, they have these amazing roles. They buff me. I beat the dog shit out of this Mandalorian, almost cut him to ribbons with my lightsaber. And I go to interrogate him. And I go over. I grab his helmet and I go to rip off the helmet. And he's like, oh God, no. Obviously Michael DMing as the NPC. No. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, he's a child of the watch. That's a neat little wrinkle. I think none of it other than that. A couple days later, I'm talking to Taylor, who watches it. She loves Ionized Bastards. She calls it her program. I am not her favorite character. That is Alden. And she's kind of offhandedly goes, I was really fucked up. I go, what? She's like, you ripped off that Mandalorian's helmet. I didn't know he was a child of the watch. He shouldn't have fucked with 4D. She's like, still fucked up. And then, so what precedes is like about an hour-long play argument over the ethics of forcibly removing a Mandalorian's helmet, whether or not they are in the Children of the Watch. And it's this back and forth that is jovial, like it's a play fight. And then Taylor, with this grim solemnitude of a fucking prosecuting attorney, looks me in my eyes and goes, you took away a man's right to go to heaven.
I wish I could do that to more people. Not what she did to you. I wish I could take away the right of somebody to go to heaven. Let me be clear. I want to be able to eternally damn people.
I just want to say, what I thought you were getting ready to say was what I have said to people in the real world whom I've told this story to, who have not known me as long as, say, you have. I am somebody who more often than not, just instinctively, has a retort, has a quip, has something pithy to say back. I've never been shut up that quickly in my life. I have never had a non-response like that in my whole life. I have never been shut the fuck down like that. And that's what I thought you were jokingly saying, is I wish I knew a way to shut you up. Because she did. It was a fucking quick draw. Just bam, I was done. I had nothing for you took away a man's right to go to heaven. So
there's a
to
lot
find
of people
out
on
what
that list.
Huh?
There's a lot of people on that list. I'm coming for you, Mitch. McConnell, not. We talk to a Mitch pretty often. I gotta clarify.
I was about to say, damn.
Yeah, I just realized
Travis with no love for our favorite British correspondent.
No, he is British. No, he gets it.
But yeah, no, I just so to find out what happened to said Mandalorian who had took away the right to go to heaven. Watch episode 3 of Ionized Bastards. Other things we're involved in, epic confrontations. There was a new doubleheader match Very exciting. The main event is a number one contender match between Jane Dalton, a Star Wars Dragon Con trivia alum. She's made it to the final table many times. Her acumen speaks for itself. Going head to head with the aforementioned Jerry the Cannon Junkie from the Bombad cast. And the winner of that match will be playing against Alden Diaz in May for our first championship match in Epic Confrontations. So go check that out. Very exciting stuff. But the undercard for that match is one that's a little bit more exciting for these purposes. Of course, I helped write it. It was basically
You sure did.
the Epic Confrontations. Okay, so I'm glad we get to litigate that as well. It was like the Epic Confrontations version of the Inner Geekdom from the movie Trivia Schmodown. May she rest in peace. And I was at the desk. I helped write it. And the competitors were StarWars.com and prolific fandom writer Kelly Knox going head to head with our own Travis Grossman.
I should have. You warned me. You were like, "Yeah, I wrote the Marvel question." I should have known that meant they were unanswerable, except for the one important one that I got right.
I wouldn't say they were unanswerable. They were shitposty. But they weren't unanswerable.
There was a lot of hip hop adjacent questions that I definitely should have known were going to be there.
Here's the thing.
That's my own fault.
I didn't know. There are three. There are three questions that were like remotely associated with rap music, and somehow they all ended up in the match. Well, no, not one. There was one I wrote for DC that didn't end up in the match. That was about Suicide Squad. But there was the question
which I got right after the match was over.
Yeah, I did read you that one, and you did know that one. It was a trick question the way I wrote it. But no, there was the one about It's On Again. The Alicia Keys and Kendrick Lamar song was like, what movie is this from? What was the other one? What was the other rapper question? Oh, it was also a DC one. I don't remember if it got answered.
Yeah, but it got asked in the match.
It did get asked in the match? Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
Because it was like what song plays in Black Adam during when he's fighting Intergang.
Yes, and that one I believe got asked in the match.
Was that to you or Kelly?
I think it was in the first round.
Was it? I can't remember.
I don't remember. It's been like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't.
But it was a great match. It was a great match. You put on a hell of a show. I keep joking to Eli that eventually he's gonna try to do EC like full time. And he won't because he loves doing In a Galaxy. But I keep joking. I'm like, when you inevitably decide that you want another division, I look forward to what your IG actually looks like, so you get a fair shake. But I take it you didn't like the Marvel questions.
I should have known. I should have studied. Yeah, that's again, but I got the Iron Man 2 question right, which that's my credibility right there.
Yeah. I was proud of the Blade question. I came up. That was one of the first questions I came up with.
Not on my radar. I didn't watch Blade as a kid, and I still haven't as an adult.
That was for me the king of the shitpost questions.
Yeah, and that's
because of the multiple choice. Because I knew one of you guys would have to check down for that. Because who the fuck other than me has like anything about Blade Trinity off the top of their head? And to not help my case at all. Do you know why I know that question? I knew that answer like so immediately.
Why?
So for the soundtrack for Blade Trinity.
Yep. Uh-huh.
There was a song by Wu-Tang Clan legend RZA. I think it's called Fatal was the name of the song. But the song begins with that exchange between Dracula and Blade. Blade, ready to die. I was born ready, motherfucker. and I listened to that song a lot after I had first watched the Blade movies, and I was like, I was like, I got to focus on not MCU. I need to make sure there's not MCU Marvel questions in here. And I was like, oh, that's funny. And put that in there. But it is a great match. Oops, sorry.
I was hoping for more difficult MCU questions. So I was like, I know he's gonna want to throw non-MCU Marvel stuff, and that's kind of my weak spot. But also, I can do harder MCU questions. So as long as there's more of those, I'll be fine. And the only other MCU question was a rap lyrics or a rap song question.
Well, hey, that was still TASM 2, so technically not.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right.
Not.
You were right. That was TASM 2. And the thing is, TASM 2 crossed my mind as like this is a movie that I don't really remember the marketing for. And I don't know the song he's talking about. Like, at least I can't hear it. I'm sure I might know it because of the marketing, but like I can't hear it hearing the name of the song. So I was like, maybe it was TASM 2. No. No, that one, like, it had EDM stuff. It didn't really have like hip hop.
Yeah, and the thing that's really funny is like it is kind of like a pop R&B track that just has a Kendrick verse at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's even more further away from the actual score of Amazing Spider-Man 2. And it is in the credits. To be fair, I don't want to sound like I'm like pulling shit out of my ass with that question.
Well,
it is in
obviously.
the credits. Like the movie ends and it like hard cuts to like everybody know the story of David and Goliath. Like it jumps right in there. So it is in the movie.
That wasn't my issue.
Oh, but anyway, I do implore everybody to go watch that double header. They're both great matches. Very exciting stuff. Yeah, Travis put on a hell of a show. I can't wait for Travis to get to play again a little bit here and there. I'm excited. Every so often I'm gonna Jedi mind trick Travis into doing epic confrontations. You help fill out the hyperspace gauntlet roster and threw us a bone with the IG. But Travis, when matches don't go your way, you know what helps?
Is it a Bloody Mary?
Sunday's Bloody Mary. You guys know the drill. Sunday's Bloody Mary has the most badass Bloody Mary accoutrement in the multiverse with their 3-time award-winning spicy Caesar mix and their mild and traditional mixes if the spice ain't for you. You can also get your freak on and garnish that bad boy with their also award-winning spicy or pickled dilly beans, okra, and asparagus, as well as some rim salt if you want to get freaky. You guys have heard me say it before, and I will say it again. I make a mean Bloody Mary. I was taught by my bartender mom, and I love Sunday's Bloody Mary even more than anything we can make from scratch. And that's saying something because I really don't like Bloody Mary mixes. I see somebody pull out a bottle of Zing Zang at the bar. I'm like, ugh, please just get the Worcestershire sauce and the horseradish out. Do it from scratch. I don't want any of this bottled shit, especially for the prices you pay at a bar these days. But Sunday's Bloody Mary is the GOAT. And if you want to get your hands on this bartender-approved Bloody Mary mix, use the link in the description down below and use the code TNAP, T-N-A-P at checkout to get 10% off your order and help out your favorite nerds while you do it. So, moving into our news roundup today. We have got kind of a doozy. Travis, how familiar are you with this Vince McMahon controversy?
So, as my name currently on the screen suggests, of the stories you have on this list for us to look at today, I only actually saw headlines for one of them before they were a day old. I should clarify. And even like, I thought I saw something about Vince going around and just was like, oh, he's being shitty again, whatever, and kind of went past it. I did my due
Vince
diligence.
McMahon is a douchebag. Water is wet. Moving on. Yeah.
Right. And then I read the headline in this, and I'm like, man, I miss being able to see the news.
Yeah. So in here we actually have the Wall Street Journal version linked, but it's doing the whole, subscribe and whatever, and I always forget to do that. So, however, I did read the filing. So what we're dealing with here, like I said, we like to start with the serious stories up top because they do deserve the care and the attention. And I don't want it to get buried in us making dick and fart jokes later in the episode as we go on. So Vince McMahon has been very credibly accused of sexual harassment, sexual assault, and trafficking. Uh, basically, the defendant has alleged that Vince McMahon hired her, I believe. Janelle Grant is the name of the defendant. That Janelle Grant, after being out of work after the death of both her mother and father, whom she was the primary caretaker for, the role was created for her within the WWE back in the late 2010s, and she had worked in this position with very little experience in the kind of stuff she was doing. But Vince, whom she lived in the same building as, was like, "Yeah, I'll give you a job. It'll pay well." Da da da, and threw her a bone. What ended up happening was Vince McMahon being committing what I can only say allegedly is the full spectrum of workplace sexual harassment. Everything from summoning her, because again, they lived in the same building. So again, like if we're dealing with a normal person and not a walking monstrosity like Vince McMahon, hey, we live in the same building. Can you swing by my place real quick so I can talk to you about something? Not horrifyingly insane. If you're dealing with a normal person who lives down the hall from you, ostensibly. But she came in and he was like in nothing but a bathrobe and his undergutchies, up to and including
Always a bathrobe, man.
up to and including forcing her into having sex with both McMahon and people who worked for WWE. The details of this are out there if you look for the filing. I am not going to delve too deeply into the details, both because it is heinous. There are instances of McMahon forcing Grant into group sex that ends in her being defecated upon. And McMahon promising a WWE superstar sex with her as a part of his re-upping of his contract. Said WWE superstar, to my knowledge, has not been directly named. However, it is made abundantly clear that it is allegedly Randy Orton, or not, I'm sorry, Brock Lesnar. I always get them confused. It is allegedly Brock Lesnar, as the filing names them as a WWE superstar who is also successful within the UFC or was also a UFC champion. And that's a very narrow pool of people. So the understanding is that it was Brock Lesnar, who is also, and there's multiple people from within WWE who are implicated in this filing. This is very scary things, and something that I frankly don't know if I would have covered and considered it in our purview if it were not for the fact that we did a WWE episode last week. If it weren't for the fact that I was like, yeah, like we're going to talk about the Royal Rumble. I don't know that I would have felt it part of our purview. However, if I'm going to be like, hey guys, here are all the reasons why you should watch this WWE event, I can't in good conscience pretend this story didn't happen. So there's that. Vince McMahon has been let go from TKO and Endeavor Entertainment, which is the outfit that now owns WWE. McMahon was ousted in 2022 and kind of elbowed his way back in just in time for this legendary merger. McMahon, at this point, post returning, had what was largely referred to as a ceremonial role. He really was only there to say that he was still around the WWE, but has since left after these accusations came to light. The reason why he was let go from the company in the first place was because leading up to that merger, as I understand it, and people who understand this story better than I, please clarify. As I understand it, he was the money for WWE was reflecting several bizarre payments that did not line up with anything at all within the company. And it was very clear they were hush money payments and that Vince McMahon was doing some bizarre fuckery with NDAs that we now know was a product of this. We will be keeping a close eye on this story to see where it goes. Again, McMahon is no longer with Endeavor and is out of the company. Yeah, that's pretty much the main thrust there. I said it before. I will reiterate it in a more serious tone now. Show that Travis and I are both a big fan of, Behind the Bastards with Robert Evans. He has a fantastic 6-part episode on Vince McMahon that ranges from hilarious because there's no way to not be funny when you're talking about WWE hijinks, and also cataloging Vince McMahon being one of the biggest scummy rat fucks in entertainment, period. So we will be following this closely. Travis, any thoughts before we get into some lighter fare here?
He doesn't get into heaven. I'm going to deny his right to heaven. Clearly, I need to do that because he hasn't done it himself.
Yes, I concur. Jumping into some lighter fare here today. Again, with going from that to a very exciting story. Deadpool 3 has wrapped.
This is the only thing that I saw the day that the headlines went out. This is the only one.
This is per Justin Moreau at Variety. After a lengthy delay caused by the SAG-AFTRA strike, Marvel Studios' Deadpool 3 has wrapped filming, star Ryan Reynolds announced Wednesday on Instagram. Reynolds thanked the Deadpool 3 cast, crew, and director Sean Levy while poking fun at his co-star Hugh Jackman. The touching, borderline heartfelt message was offset in classic Ryan Reynolds Deadpool fashion by a picture of the superhero's spandexed crotch. The post read, "The suit hides the blood, also sweat, but today with Deadpool rapping, it's mostly tears. A giant forever thanks to the crew and cast of our film who battled wind, rain, strikes, and Hugh Jackman, all under the stalwart leadership of Sean Levy. I got to make a movie with my closest pals, and that doesn't happen very often. See you in July. Sword emojis. July 26th. So, yeah, Deadpool 3 is wrapped. I'm already seeing speculation that this might be one of our big Super Bowl trailers, which I would not be surprised by.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. I mean, they were what, over halfway done with the movie? Not with the movie, but with filming before strikes.
They were a good ways into filming. I know that like we got those like big Hugh Jackman pictures, and I know we didn't directly report on it, and you know, I think that we didn't have the time to do a news roundup, but Ryan Reynolds made a big point talking about, you know, admonishing leakers. Please don't leak. And you know, and I've always had mixed opinions about the term, about what we define as leaks. You know, I know a lot of our compatriots are very anti-leaker, you know, and I tend to be as well, with an asterisk. You know, something like what leaked the other day: promotional art, posters. That's one thing. You know, or like how we got a look at what the box art for some of the Captain America Brave New World merchandise will have. I don't consider that incredibly consequential and scummy. It's when plot details are getting shared on Twitter very, very loosey goosey. That's when I start to take issue. There's no reason for us to know any of that. But those small things, those things that excite you, like box art or a poster, I can be pretty lenient about that. And like I said, we're not going to directly report on it or call attention to it, other than to say it already exists. And when stuff like that exists, you get a poster, and not long after you get a trailer. So I would not be surprised if this is part of our big game trailer push. I'm very much hoping for that, actually. I'm very excited to see what they're cooking and what they
There's really
lead
not
with.
much else we can get, right? Like, there's not much else because of the strikes. Deadpool 3 is, I think, our only Marvel movie coming out this year.
It's our only MCU movie. Yes.
So, wait. What other Marvel movie am I missing?
The rest of them are non-MCU. It is Madam Web,
Craven. Yeah.
Craven, and Venom 3.
Those. God. Wait, there's a Venom 3?
Yeah, we already have a poster for Venom 3. What, Travis? Do you think this was going to be a year of good movie reviews?
None of them get into heaven. I've decided. Sony Pictures, you don't get into heaven.
I mean, in terms of movies that haven't come out yet, we got a poster for Beetlejuice today. So we might actually be getting a trailer for Beetlejuice 2. Trying to see like what big ones. They might have like a full trailer for Furiosa as opposed to the teaser. I might get a Joker Folie 2 trailer. Which again, the more movies I list that are coming out this year, the closer and closer Travis is getting to quitting.
And he never went to the cinema again.
So yeah, we might actually get a trailer for Snow White. That's actually not necessarily good, but that's actually a good prediction there too for a Snow White trailer. Yeah, but we might get a proper, like a full length Craven trailer. Red Sonja. What?
I said my favorite.
Your
Craven
favorite.
the Hunter.
Craven the PETA Man. We've gotten a good bit of marketing already for Ghostbusters Afterlife. Yeah, I think the big ones that are due for a trailer are probably going to be Snow White, Beetlejuice, Deadpool, maybe Venom. But we shall see. Maybe Joker. I can't remember if they wrapped fully or not. Maybe Mortal Kombat, because that's another one. I know Carl Urban is done filming. I don't know how close to being done with filming they are in total, though. But I know Carl Urban was like, hey, Johnny Cage is out.
I feel like I remember that, and yet still didn't remember that there was a Mortal Kombat 2 happening.
I'm excited for it. I finally got to play Mortal Kombat 1. I don't know if we got to talk about this or not. I got it for Christmas. I really liked the story. The story was fun in like the, silly way that a fucking Mortal Kombat movie is, or Mortal Kombat game story is. Trying to get used to the gameplay. It's been a while for me. I was so at Mortal Kombat 11. I long for the days where the games played like MKX. I would give my fucking kidney away. I would give a kidney away to have the variation system back from Mortal Kombat 10. Like, I love that. I love that system. And I had to accept the fact that I got so good with Kenshi using his Travis is going to roll his eyes and say, no wonder. The variation with Kenshi where it's basically all sword stuff and telekinesis. I got so good with that I forgot to learn how to play as other characters in Mortal Kombat. And then MK11 came out and Kenshi wasn't around anymore. And I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So I'm trying to get good at Kenshi again, despite the fact that they made him one of the hardest characters to master in the new game. But Omni-Man is a lot of fun, and I'm counting the seconds for Homelander, which I think will be a very, very fun character there. Also, by then, hopefully I'll have a streaming setup ready so we can stream Mortal Kombat 1, and you guys can see this come to life. Anyway, moving right along, we got some new casting for our DCU. One that we kind of saw coming for a week now. House of the Dragon alum Millie Alcock is our Kara Zor-El. Allegedly, she beat out Coda actress Amelia Johnson and Meg Donnelly, who voiced Supergirl in Legion of Superheroes and Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. But yeah, this is very exciting stuff. You know, a lot of people are saying that Millie very much looks the part. And I have not seen all of House of the Dragon, but I did see most of what Millie is in for that because of the time jumps. So yeah, I think she's great. I think she's a good pick for Kara. I will say, you know, I was very much a hardliner for Sasha Kaye to stick around. So I can't say that I'm not a little disappointed that Sasha doesn't get a little bit more time with more meat on the bone with a better movie. But it sounds like they're not bringing the heat either way. Travis, your thoughts?
Looks the part, yes. I have not seen really anything Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, so I can't dictate based on that. It's interesting to me that she's been cast, and I think I like this. She's cast as Supergirl for the DCU, not for like we don't know if she's gonna be in Superman. It's presumed if she got cast as Supergirl and they're about to start filming a Superman movie, then odds are we will likely see her at not for any extensive time, but she will show up in this movie. But I like the framing of we're casting people for the universe as we've set it out, not just particular movies. From again, I don't know how that works from logistics perspective. Like I'm sure that's why it was happening that way in the past. But just the commitment of like, yep, this if Supergirl shows up in our movies, it'll be this person. I like that.
Yeah, it's nice to know that people will actually be in things in DC. It's been a long time since we've had that kind of
and having someone like James Gunn who is so open and willing to confirm or deny things.
Speaking of, yeah, nice. And he did confirm this. As you brought that up, I did want to emphasize that.
Yeah, it's nice because then like you hear all the rumors about it's gonna be so and so playing this character. Or they're getting ready to make this movie with this person. It's like, congratulations, you took a shit, you read the tea leaves in your poop, and then posted on Twitter. Right? Proud of you. Keep up the great work. It's part of why I don't feel like I see news because I don't believe anything I read anymore, but I'm also not willing to go looking to like
Travis, I don't believe anything I read anymore, Grossman.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'll see it and be like, this reads like someone. So I'm into One Piece, right? When anyone's in the One Piece fandom, when someone's trying to argue about a theory or a power scaling thing or anything regarding like the lore of One Piece, and someone hits you with Eiichiro Oda is the mangaka, the author, right? If someone says, well, Oda said 99% of the time, whatever follows the word said is not anything Eiichiro Oda has ever said or written in his life.
That's deeply funny. That's
it's
deeply
kind of impressive.
You know what? It has more confidence than like the weird Star Wars disinformation people have, where it's like sources close to Lucasfilm. Sources close to Lucasfilm. Yeah. Where like that is just somebody who like is just fully pilled on something Oda never said. I love that.
Yeah, they're like they heard it on a Twitter post, on a TikTok somewhere, and they went, "Oh, that's cool. I like that." It's never been said or confirmed ever. And it's just like ingrained in them now. It's like a schoolyard like myth that you've come to believe about a thing. Like, oh, if you beat the Pokemon League 30 times, you get shiny Rayquaza or something, right? That's how I feel reading every single tweet about any media thing that I like now.
Well,
is I read it and I'm
it doesn't help that a lot of leakers who, again, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Like I will see like Daniel RPK will say like fucking Stevie Wonder confirmed to play the Beyonder, and then like I'll scroll a little bit and the next page is like MCU news updates viral plus will be like Stevie Wonder confirmed to play the Beyonder. And it's like, it is immediate, and I think a lot of it is because there's been such a breakdown on social media about how news is even allowed to aggregate. I've heard a lot of people on a lot of the podcasts I listen to, like some more, like even more news and QAnon Anonymous, talking about how like Google doesn't fucking work anymore. Google's broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you can't, like, I use this as an example because it's not information related, but it's worth repeating. Level Up Lightsabers, a company we're friendly with. It's run by Jedi Master Alan, dear friend of the show. He's been on a couple times. I have tried to look up his website, and when I Google Level Up Light or Level Up Sabers, or I can't remember the name of it because it's changed. When I look at Level Up Sabers, the first result is Ultra Sabers.
Mm-hmm.
Because they bought that spot. And then the second response is Saber Forge.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. It infuriates me. Because it's two bigger companies that are now getting to leech off because, Joe fucking Donut just sees lightsabers, but it's also an issue with news. I know when I'm like doing like, and I'm not going to pretend that I do like, hours. I'm not going to pull a joke for Paco because I know he listens to Knowledge Right. I'm not going to pull an Alex Jones and say, I've been doing deep research for 5 hours before this broadcast, and pretend that. But I also like make sure that my sources or like what we use in the show notes for the most part are not shit like We Got This Cover or Inside the Magic, like sources that are ostensibly rags that are getting higher and higher results than fucking Deadline and the Hollywood Reporter.
Mm-hmm.
The information breakdown is something that's very real and very frustrating. And, I've been saying this for years, and you've heard me say it, that, I have always kept a very particular eye on like the worlds of disinformation because it fascinates me, from shit all the way up to like conspiracy movements like QAnon and like weird truthers and stuff like that. But especially in the entertainment journalism world, we've had this conversation where I have seen more people than I can count share fake Beetlejuice 2 posters. And I had to fight the urge to save the picture of the poster and tweet and put it on Facebook and tag all the people I saw share fake Beetlejuice posters and trailers and be like, "Hi, this is a real announcement. This is what they look like. This is how they're written. For the love of fuck, stop sharing bullshit." because again, like nobody is immune to disinformation. I almost shared a fake Jordan Peterson tweet the other day because I thought it was hilarious.
I wish you would have.
I almost did. I almost shared a fake Jordan Peterson tweet because it was Jordan Peterson quoting fucking Elmo, tweeting Elmo, and it wasn't even the one that everybody was trauma dumping on. It was Elmo talking like it was Elmo with like a teddy bear or some shit. And it was a response to Elmo being like, "Hey, thank you for checking in. It's important to check in." And it was Jordan Peterson. Again, it was a fake one, but it depicted Jordan Peterson quote tweeting it and saying, "Go fuck yourself, Elmo. You hate white people." And I almost shared that shit. And I stopped and I went to Jordan B. Peterson's Twitter and I searched "Go fuck yourself" to make sure it was real. Nothing came up. Which is
It's wild, man. I've recently gotten into what is probably the most popular manga and anime right now, Jujutsu Kaisen. It's been my hyperfixation for the last like 2 months. And while I had my One Piece comparison, if the thing I've carried into the rest of my life from that show and manga, nerds don't know how to fucking read.
No.
We are a bunch of illiterate people who don't know how to do research. Basic. I'm not talking research.
Count your blessings you're not on the Star Wars show. Count your blessings you're not on the Star Wars show. Because you would run into fucking traffic halfway through one of these episodes at this point. Because it's all disinformation anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's part of the reason like I don't engage with Star Wars stuff anymore. I barely engage with Marvel stuff anymore. Is because of the like obviously I know what to look for and when I see stuff that's bullshit. But also, like on the other hand, when Disney and Marvel and Star Wars say like post things that are kind of general and I'm like I don't know how I feel about that. That feels like it's gonna fall through. So then I disengage and I don't and then I watch everyone else flock to it and be like, oh, this is gonna be a thing, and I'm like, is it though? Is it? Are we sure? They don't have a plan. Are we sure? Because then the disinformation people are going to take that and spin it 400 ways. And then I have to deal with all of that disinformation around the very vague announcement.
It's exhausting.
Man, yeah. No one knows how to read. No one's media literate. No one. It's funny, like I know the Google thing sucks with the sponsored posts. And like in that sense, I think it's gross because a legitimate business person is losing sales because of it. But from the aspect of like, oh, I'm trying to find information about like a news article or like, oh, I saw this thing about this actor being cast in a role. I'm smart enough to see the word sponsored. I don't know how everyone else like doesn't know to just look and be like, oh, it says sponsored, move. It says sponsored, move.
I would like to hammer home what you're saying. Just to prove a point, Googled Deadpool 3. You want to see what the top results are?
Is it we got this covered?
So Deadpool 3, we got a cast. First thing first, Mobius, not confirmed. Loki, not confirmed.
What are you talking about, man? I read it on real Marvel news for real don't google it.com. .net, excuse me.
Yeah, .net. Like we have no confirmation that Miss Minutes is in it or Loki or Mobius. You know, we talked about that back during WandaVision where it was like, how often do you just Google the cast of one of these things? And there's people listed who were never in it. Google Age of Ultron, it tells you Wolverine was in that fucking movie. So we scroll down past, just I don't know where any of this came from. IMDb, okay. People also ask, okay. Wikipedia, okay. Vulture, with like an opinion article from December. Videos, what are our videos? Oh, wait a minute, it's showing me cast. Let me go back. Okay, so there's the cast, IMDb, Wiki, trailers and clips. Breaking Deadpool 3 official teaser trailer. Deadpool 3 trailer. Deadpool 3 first trailer. Deadpool 3 official synopsis confirmed. There is no fucking trailer out for this movie. The only thing we can count as a trailer was the announcement they were making it with Hugh Jackman.
Mm-hmm.
So aside from things that should on their face be obvious bullshit, we have notorious leaker and hack John fucking Campea up there too. Stay frosty out there, kids. So I've made a decision that one of these things I'm saving for last, so y'all don't get stuck with me doing a rant 2 topics in a row. So let's do some fun good news. Because then it will just devolve into me screaming, and nobody wants that. Or maybe you all want that, and that's where we are. I don't know. We have some fun updates for Daredevil Born Again. Now, Daredevil Born Again, we know his very famously, the first draft of the show, the folks at Marvel Entertainment were not happy with. So they're doing some extensive reshoots. They've retooled the story, and that involves bringing back a lot of characters from the Netflix show, including we have Eldon Henson and Deborah Ann Wool reprising their roles as Foggy Nelson and Karen Page, respectively. We've gotten a handful of set photos and leaked image, or not leaked videos, but videos from the set of Karen, Foggy, and Matt walking together. We've seen a couple pictures of Nelson, Murdoch, and Page. That's cool. We also have news that Bullseye is back. Wilson Bethel is back as Bullseye. We have heard reporting about that he is going to be returning. So that's really cool. I've heard some rumblings that I will not get into too much, but I'm very excited to see how he looks this season. Throw that in the ether there. One last bit of news before we get into a little bit more discourse for me to ream my fucking hands about. We've had some exits from Thunderbolts. This is an exclusive from Deadline this past week. Geraldine Vuzathan has joined the Thunderbolts to replace Ayo Edebiri, who left due to the delay, due to scheduling conflicts caused by the delay from the strikes. This is the second person to be replaced, as Lewis Pullman stepped in to replace Stephen Yun, who is allegedly playing Sentry. So we don't know a whole lot about the role that Visnathan is playing. We don't know a whole lot about that. But we know she's replacing Ayo Edebiri, and that Lewis Pullman has stepped into what is allegedly the boots of the Sentry for Thunderbolts. So very exciting stuff there. Again, same thing with Yun. He left for the same reasons. Again, we missed this story when it happened. Same thing. Thunderbolts was delayed very much by the strikes. And I just want to reiterate, there's nobody to blame for this aside from these greedy motherfucking studios. So take it up with them. For our last segment today, Travis.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. If at all, when do you plan on trying to sit down and play Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League?
If I can get it without spending money. That's my bar. Not even... So, like, we were talking about this off air, right? I forgot this game. I kept forgetting this game existed. And then the day before it came out, when everyone was like, it comes out tomorrow, I was like, what? Well, guess I'm not playing that. And from what I've heard, I didn't miss much. But I haven't also heard a lot So I don't know what's wrong with it exactly. I just know people don't like it.
So I also have not played it. Like I said, I have less time on my hands than I would like to these days. And I already missed out on the opening months of launch for Mortal Kombat 1. So when it comes to game stuff, I'm kind of trying to make up for lost time there. If it weren't for that, I'm not going to lie to you. I probably would have bought Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League tonight. But I don't have time for it. I have other things I have to spend my money on. And so I'm probably going to wait. I'm in a similar camp as you. I don't think I'm going to be as extreme and say I'm waiting for it to be like a PlayStation Plus type deal. But I'm probably going to wait until there's some type of spring or summer sale extravaganza where they shave like 20 or $30 off of it. I'll grab it then. That is safely the bin that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League falls into for me, and it's for a lot of factors. I was very lucky with a game like Assassin's Creed Unity, for example. I didn't get to play Unity until they unfucked it. I did not have to deal with the Assassin's Creed Unity is finally here and nobody has a face and I'm clipping through walls and the floor doesn't exist. I didn't have to deal with that. When I got Unity, I was fine. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm going to fall into that place as well as Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Because again, for a game that you have to spend, $70 on, it launched with some pretty egregious bugs. There were bugs that would not let you start the game. There was very famously, Travis, since seems like you haven't heard a lot, you'll find this entertaining. For people who bought the digital deluxe, they got to play it 2 days early. And they were given an extra reward nobody told them about. Would you like to know what that was?
I have a feeling I might know.
Oh, okay.
Based on Armin's post about it. But if that's not what it is, then I'm going to say that the reward was a dead console.
There were a handful of people upon booting up Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League with their early access were rewarded by having already beaten the game.
Oh, that's the opposite of what Armin's thing was. Okay.
Yeah, he got the other patch that made it so you couldn't play the game.
Yeah.
Which again is egregious. And I just want to hammer home. This does not fall on the shoulders of the people who work at Rocksteady, who work for Rocksteady. This is crunch culture. This is the refusal to let these games come out later. It is this obsession with early release dates, with a game that has already had a fraught production from what we've heard. It's ugly and it's unfortunate. And it's disappointing when a game that you shell out real money for launches busted. I've lucked out with a lot of these AAA games that launch with crazy bugs. I think I encountered maybe 2 or 3 in both Spider-Man 2 and Jedi Survivor. I did not have a hard time with those. What'd you say?
Really nothing in I had like no glitches in either, really. Which is surprising given what people were. Well, granted, I played Survivor late. Not late, but like a couple weeks late, I think.
The only bug I consistently encountered with Survivor was anytime I landed back on Kobo, I would like double jump dash out of the Mantis. And every time I dropped to like 2 frames. Consistently. I haven't played it in a little bit, so maybe that has been remedied. But all of that to say, there are real issues here and real things to pick bones about. What I am frustrated by, and I'm just gonna say up top, spoiler warning.
Oh, okay. I'll go.
That's also why I wanted to do this last. Check out our Patreon. Go to nerdacademypodcast.com to get merch. Do that stuff. If you don't want to hear any spoilers for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, run while you can. Posting, I don't fucking care for what reason. Posting spoilers to a game that is technically not fucking out yet, scummy. Shitty behavior. If you are posting clips with captions that just describe the clip with zero warning, zero like blurring of the image or the video, just straight up posting it, from the bottom of my heart, go fuck yourself. I hope you step on a fucking Lego. Like, zero respect or like camaraderie with that type of person.
Would you like to deny their right to heaven?
Yes, I would love to take off their Mandalorian helmets forcibly. I think it's deeply fucked up. You know, I don't know what to expect from this game. Now, I will say, I knew I was going to be late to the game because a game about the Suicide Squad fighting Brainiac-controlled Justice League members, it's kind of like a run-and-gun third-person shooter live service game. I kind of knew from the beginning I would wait till I could get this for a discount. I knew that going in. So when I found an alleged plot leak, I rolled an 8. I read that knowing I'll get to this late. And what I read was batshit crazy. And kind of exciting in an insane fucking way. Now, from what I understand, Rocksteady denied the veracity of that leak. And again, I've not played the game yet, so I don't know how it ends. What I do know about the post-credit scene is that it does not seem like the leak I read pans out. Because from what I understand, the post-credit of this game is Lois Lane eulogizing Batman, which means Batman stays dead, which negates the leak that I read that they would do some type of time travel resetting of the timeline that would open the gates to doing more games set in the Arkham verse with the greater DC cast. And hey, it's DC. What are you gonna do? It's like the big timeline resets. That's DC's thing, man. If you're gonna be mad at that, then maybe this specific pantheon of characters isn't for you. I get it. But the post-credit scene I saw shows that Batman's already dead. It's like dead, like staying dead. And that, from what I understand, Flash is killed early to mid-game. Again, I don't know. I just know what I've forcibly been shown. Because people are being scumfucks on the internet and posting spoilers. That makes me angry. What annoys me in terms of discourse is you ruined my favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. I do not think a character or a greater story, like a story with multiple entries, can inherently be ruined. I fundamentally think that saying blank thing was ruined by blank, I genuinely think that's nonsense. I think that you have to accept the idea that retroactively emotions and the impact and the greater narrative of what a story had to say can like lose points, for lack of a better term, retroactively. Now you can say that for you it personally lessened the impact of something. I think that's different. But I think statements like Game of Thrones was ruined by its final season is insane. Because to say that, you have to then kind of agree to this idea that the previous seasons that were legendarily good seasons of television are now rendered moot because you don't like how it ends. I don't like what they did with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Therefore, Return of the Jedi is bad now. That logic, like, boggles my fucking mind. I've never understood it. I've never understood that. All of that to say, when you bought the game called Kill the Justice League, and Batman gets shot in the head, I think you don't get to be angry. Furthermore, I don't think it is logical or good faith to therefore say that all of this version of Bruce Wayne's character development is rendered moot by knowing how he dies. Because again, I don't know how he gets to how he dies. All I know is that Harley Quinn shoots him in the face on a park bench. That's all I know. And that's all I've seen. I don't know what the fight looks like leading up to that. I don't know where you fight Batman. I don't know how you fight Batman. I don't know how you beat Batman. I don't know what Batman's role in Brainiac's plan is. All I know is Batman is shot in the head on a park bench and dies in Metropolis. That's all I know. And I think, posting that gory detail is shitty for people who want to play this game. I think sharing it is ignorant. And I think that saying Batman got shot in the face on a park bench makes Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight inherently bad, or ruins it, or makes it worse now that you know how this journey ends, is deeply fucking silly. What I think is depraved is using Kevin Conroy's death as the coup de grace for shitty fucking discourse. Because every single one of those images and those videos of either Bruce getting shot or Bruce's dead body laying on the ground are accompanied by a caption that says, "Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Conroy's last performance as Batman," which, again, going back to the fucking disinformation conversation, factually fucking incorrect. We know he is in, I think, 2 animated movies.
Yeah.
Which will mark the end of Kevin Conroy's time as the Dark Knight. And yeah, I'm not going to pretend I didn't say, I wish a game about killing the Justice League wasn't the last time we saw this version of Batman. I agree with that. I'm not going to pretend that if somebody took me aside before DC Fandom and said, you get to pick which one of these games will be announced and produced, a game about the Justice League or a game where you play as the Suicide Squad and kill the Justice League, then I wouldn't have picked the JL game. Obviously, most people would pick the fucking Justice League game. But it is so repulsive to see people do the you destroyed my childhood because I don't like a beat you decided to have with a character as the lead creative of this story. I don't like what you did, therefore you destroyed my childhood because you made an admittedly bold choice as a creative. You know, is a lot of the humor in this game kind of adolescent from what I've seen? Yes. Is Captain Boomerang pissing on the Flash's corpse a little much? Yeah, sure. Guess what? You don't need to tweet that. Because the game is not even out for another 5 fucking hours at time of record. Scummy
I didn't.
bullshit.
Wow. I thought it had officially come out.
No, that's the early access.
That's not funny in like the actual funny way, but funny in like the Robert Evans. Wow, that's kind of cool and funny way where it's not cool. But that's the only way that's my body's initial reaction. Wow, that's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I know exactly what you mean. But I just think it is so repulsive.
There's such an inherent difference between, oh wow, like even before, because the game hadn't even come out yet, and you were like, I wish this wasn't Kevin's last performance. And like, yeah, agreed. Like that kind of stinks. But like that is paired with the notion of like you're upset that he has passed is the primary thing.
Yeah.
Not this thing is gonna ruin his legacy. Just that, and like therefore hurt my feelings, which is more important than him, his legacy, his family, his next of kin, any of that. Fuck all those people. They don't matter. I matter. And what he meant to me, a person who never knew him, matters. Right? But just as the like, oh, this wasn't the project I would have liked to see be his official last, but the hope was that he never had an official last. So
exactly.
What are you going to do? That's a very different statement than I can't believe Kathleen Kennedy killed my childhood.
I'm honestly at the point waiting for them to say that Kathleen Kennedy shot Batman in the head.
Yep.
Like I am truly waiting to see her name come up at this point. And I have seen some depraved, ridiculous fucking comments. Well, like again, the post-credit scene where it's like Lois Lane, who's like, it looks like the Batman has died, blah, blah, blah. We have a statement left to us by Bruce Wayne in the event of his death. And she reads it, and like Lois is like choked up reading this like statement that Bruce gave in the event he died. And it's moving and it hurts, and like it ends with like a big bat symbol that says thank you, Kevin. Like 1966 to 2022, 2023. Like it is beautiful. It is sincerely beautiful. And people who have worked in the world of, and with a lot of these developers, grew up on the many different times Kevin Conroy has voiced the Batman. And I've seen people being like, this is clearly an afterthought. What the fuck do you mean? Do you think the people at Rocksteady had a fucking post-it note on their laptop that had the day that Kevin Conroy would fucking die and just ignored that?
No, they clearly, Jared, they made the scene and then went, well, this won't be nearly as impactful if Kevin Conroy goes on to play more Batman. We have to kill him.
That's honestly how it fucking reads.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot believe the amount of people, like it's almost I cannot believe I'm witnessing a situation where a fandom collectively loses its fucking mind, and somehow, some way, Star Wars fans handle the situation better. Like, Do you know how much you have to fuck up for the Star Wars fans to look like the adults in the room?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when Carrie Fisher passed away, there was the immediate, because clearly then episode 9 was going to be her movie, and now they gotta, oh, that sucks. And there were some people who were even retroactively saying, well, maybe they should frame it so that Leia gets to go out with a bang in The Last Jedi, because that's the last movie Carrie ever really got to shoot. And how did the Star Wars fans handle this better than y'all? How? Because this is embarrassing.
There's
And
something
it's
more,
repulsive.
yeah, because I mean, like Star Wars had its bad actors, not as many. That wasn't quite as lucrative of a business yet. We were working on it, and so like,
There wasn't
the
a
bad actors
successful industry yet.
there wasn't a pipeline,
Yeah. And
if you
granted,
will.
that pipeline was born with The Last Jedi, so it's not like it's
Yeah.
that early before, but
Yeah, but so you still had people who were, you had people being shitty about Carrie's death, and in the same way, I don't know how it's darker when it's not people doing it for ulterior motives, but there's something about seeing objective evil, like people abusing Carrie Fisher's death to get clicks on their YouTube videos. Gross, disgusting.
Or impressions on their tweets so that they can maybe get money from Elon.
Well, I'm talking even like back in the day,
I know. I'm just trying to reinforce how fucking furious I am over this
now.
situation.
Again, we have a whole network, man. There's an industry. You could take a college course on how to do exactly what these people are doing, probably. There's something different about watching someone that is objectively evil doing it, because you can just point and be like, oh yeah, fuck you, versus someone that thinks that they're in the right doing this, and that knows, like, feels like what they are presenting is valid in the way that it overwrites anyone else's feelings about the subject. And like, it's just it's disheartening. I think it's more disheartening. I don't know, maybe it's equally and differently disheartening, but everything ties back in. It's the same thing with seeing people who can't read and can't do basic research. It's like, come on, man, you're better than this.
Yeah, or at the very least, you should be trying to be better. Yeah. Like, again,
like you should have gotten to the end of gentleman in that tweet and gone, wow, this is so fucking cringe. This is maybe the cringest thing I've ever done. I've done some cringe shit. Speaking as that person, I've never done anything cringe in my life, and you can't prove that I have. But you get to the end of gentleman, you go, wow, what I'm about to type is so incredibly cringe, and then you delete Twitter off your phone.
Yeah. It's
that easy. I don't have Twitter drafts. I have 0 Twitter drafts. I've never had Twitter drafts, because anything I've ever thought about tweeting that didn't go out at that moment, I typed and went, this is incredibly cringe. This can't be public.
My Twitter drafts is solely made up of me typing something out and going, that's too mean. I'll wait till they really deserve it. Like, that is it. That is it at this point, because it's all I have. Yeah. The only thing that has stopped me from like saying some really mean shit on Twitter is the fact that I do not want to then put these videos and screenshots on other people's fucking timelines by responding to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's just this layer cake of being a fucking cocksucker. Like, it is just this layer cake of openly posting spoilers online, bad media literacy because you ruined my childhood, using the death of a legendary actor to validate the first 2 layers. It is impressive levels
If I've
of
learned
like
anything
internet
from the past
fandom
couple of months,
fuckery.
yeah, if I've learned anything in the past couple of months, I'm getting into the NFL. We're wiping all this away. I'm getting rid of all the nerd shit. I'm picking a team. I'm getting into the NFL, and that's going to be my thing now. I'm on NFL TikTok now. I don't watch the NFL.
I've always been on NFL TikTok. I don't know why. And I like
Do you
every
know how
single
many?
video.
Do you know how many JJK X NFL memes there are?
Oh, so many. So
There's
many.
It's absurd. There should not be this many. Not this many JJK fans should know anything about football. It's ridiculous. And they shouldn't be this funny.
No. No. My favorite has, even though it's like annoying because it's a lot of people who are like who hate the Chiefs for obvious Taylor Swift reasons. Now, I will
Yeah.
say, knowing a handful of like NFL diehards, because I do think, you know, to quote Cody Rhodes, I finished the story. I do think I'm into football enough that I like appreciate it. I've seen almost every single Steelers game this season. A lot of that's because of where I work. But it was a
Yeah.
good vehicle for it. I understand that there's a lot of people who like follow the NFL who didn't want the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and do not want them to win for reasons that aren't Taylor Swift, and it's because the Chiefs are like slowly becoming the new Patriots
Yeah.
in terms of like I'm tired of hearing Patrick Mahomes' name. I'm tired of hearing about this. I'm tired of them winning. Let somebody else have a moment in the fucking spotlight. And then you get people in there who are like weird about Taylor Swift. That said, I have seen a handful of memes that are very funny of
Lamar
the
in front
final battle in Obi-Wan Kenobi of the show, where it's Vader standing there and it's like the Kansas City thing, and then you swipe over and it's Obi-Wan in like the iconic Sarisu stance. And it's like every fucking team in the NFL plastered over Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, yeah, because last week it was for Baltimore, right? And so it was
like
Obi-Wan was Lamar. And now
Yeah.
I'm sure this week it's going to be all I forget the other kid's name from San Francisco. That kid's 24 and I hate it.
Oh my God. He's younger than both of us.
Yeah, I forget his name. He's young.
Well, the ones I keep seeing, it's like every team in the NFL is on Obi-Wan.
Well, it was like just Baltimore, and then they added like the whole division, and then they added the entire NFL, and now it's any sports conglomerate is now there. Soon, like the presidents are gonna be on it, man. Like it's so funny.
I like it as a format a lot. I really do like Obi-Wan versus Vader as a format. I think it's really funny.
And because of how many upsets there have been this playoff season, there's a specific JJK meme that has been used over and over again. And it has to do with Usher.
Domain expansion thing.
Okay, so that's not it, but that's a general one. If you've seen any pictures of an anime drawn NFL athlete that says "Nah, I'd win," like NAA,
I haven't, but it feels like this meme is made for me.
So, we talked about this off air. I guess I'm gonna give a spoiler warning for JJK fans are also terrible about spoilers. I knew about this well before I got into the show or manga. But spoiler
What, Usher
warning,
tell you?
No, back when it happened, like last September.
That shit's still so funny to me.
But so what the fight that happens in. So the premise of Jujutsu Kaisen is the main character has a demon put in him that he can control, but like if it gets out, it's gonna kill everybody, because it's an anime. But unlike most anime where that happens, the demon does not become his friend at the end. This dude is actually like the end boss.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So he's out and about, and Gojo is the strongest character in the verse, but like every single power set where it's like, and it's this is the fastest person in the universe, with the exception of Satoru Gojo, of course. Like every single time, he's the fastest, strongest, best techniquist, hottest, prettiest eyesest person you've ever seen in your life. And so of
Oh,
course,
wait, this is the guy Usher spoiled dying, right?
yeah.
Because I remember the whole thing was R.I.P. Gojo with fucking Usher.
So they basically set up a high noon fight. Like Gojo gets out of an imprisonment thing and is like, "All right, dude, you're ready. I'm ready. I'll give you a month." And they're like, "Do you think you can?" And then he goes back to his people and they're like, "Do you think you can beat him?" And he's like, "Well, if he opens his domain expansion, he might give me a problem. But would you lose? Nah, I'd win."
Based.
And then he loses. And so now Nah I'd Win is just like this perpetual meme of people going into something they should win. It's one of the best formats. What did you look up? I'm curious.
I'm trying to find like the video of Usher spoiling it, but as you said, as you finished the explanation, I got to a Nah I'd Win Usher meme.
Yep. So and now, yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
And then Usher's doing the halftime show, so there's gonna be a Gojo reference at the halftime show.
I love this. I love all of this so much. But yeah, all of that to say, fucking have better conversations. Don't be a prick on the internet. Learn how to fucking read and research. And no, Batman isn't ruined because this version
in a game called Kill the Justice League
was
I will
killed.
say I disagree with your point specifically about Game of Thrones. And I don't think it ruins the past 7 seasons, but the difference between that and the other examples you gave is that Game of Thrones is given as a complete product now that it's done, right? Like that is the ending to those 7 seasons. It is meant to be consumed as a whole, and therefore, not that I don't think it can be ruined, but like I can understand if you don't like the ending of something, the rest of it can feel sour, right?
Absolutely. I agree with that. I think that there's a bad
Way to
precedent
present
set
it.
in discourse to
Yes,
say that Game
I
of
agree.
Thrones is ruined by this thing. The same way that I think that like saying, "Oh, I didn't like how the Rise of Skywalker ends, therefore it ruined the Skywalker trilogy." I think that is insane. I think that it is bananas to say that because you don't like a handful of specific plot points, that any of the things prior to that are now bad. It may lessen the impact for you. That's one thing, but like saying it's been ruined, like thing bad now. One bad movie, whole bad franchise. That's batshit crazy.
So again, with those, it's like, yeah, you just don't consume the thing you didn't like when it's a project, right? If you don't like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, congratulations. The Arkham games still exist and you can play them and they're a complete arc and they're great as they are. You're done. You did it. You figured it out. The animated series still exists. You can watch it anytime you want. Congratulations. You did it. You never have to look at that game. No one made you. You didn't have to buy this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's I haven't watched any of I do like to hate watch things. We know this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I'm like I can just drop this. I don't need to do this. I don't watch the thing. I stopped watching Titans. It's that easy. Just watch something you like. Play something you like.
I hope that this show is an avenue to have better conversations. That's why I do it. I want the conversations we have in fandom, in pop culture, to be better. And that's why we do this show. Not to say that we can fix it, but to at the very least encourage better conversations here.
I can't fix it, but if I disagree with that person's opinion, I'll just deny their right to heaven.
I want you to know, and I look forward to telling Taylor about this. I want you to know every single person who has heard this story has gone in the opposite direction of you. That every single person has been like, damn, Taylor fucking cooked you. She took the legs out from under you. Just absolutely went full team Taylor. The only person who was even remotely taken my side was Spencer. And I think it was for the bit and to just nitpick what she said. Because his response was, well, it's more like Valhalla or Elysium. Like, that was his response. and tried to invoke my defense of, well, he tried to kill the party and needed to be interrogated. He had no way of knowing he should not remove this man's helmet. You are the only person who has not tried to defend it, went, yep, no, double down. We should do that to more people. Like, I just need you to know that this is why we're like this. He says, you went to bat for me when nobody would.
And I'd do it again.
And I'd do. That's what I said about that Mandalorian. Travis, where can the lovely people find you, dear friend?
On Twitter, screaming into the void. I did literally do that the other day. I just stood up. I was at this desk doing my job, like my job, and then I just stood up and I screamed for about a minute straight, and I went, I feel a little better, and I sat back down.
Was it like this?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. From the front lines of the information war.
Kind
Paco,
of
you already got
less,
your clip.
less gravel on the end. Some of them weren't just as, they were fucks. And the only reason it wasn't one continuous one was because I screamed the first time. Like, it was a quick one, and I was like, I'm in this house alone. That wasn't enough. And then I kept going. On a side note, if you run a small business, just offhand, if you run a small business, and I ask you, and your sales tax, you don't pay sales tax on things. Cool. Fuck the government. And then the person you're buying something from asks you for your sales tax exemption certificate. And nowhere on the form you send me, I mean them, says the word exemption. Learn to read. You have no idea how happy I am that my career prospect is to go to somebody's company and tell them they've done their whole job wrong. That is going to be my career. I was made for this.
Fucking you, the Hulk Endgame. It's like I was made for this. Semi-related. You want to hear the funniest thing I've heard on Knowledge Fight in a while?
Yes.
So they were talking about for those of you who are unaware, Knowledge Fight is this podcast I listen to a lot. It's Dan Friesen and Jordan Holmes. They have dedicated almost 1,000 episodes at this point over the last 7 years to debunking, disproving, and discrediting anything that has ever come out of the mouth of Alex Jones, to the point where Dan Friesen was an expert witness in one of the Sandy Hook defamation cases. It's an incredible show. I know our $10 patron Paco, who's already gotten their shout out because I'm not playing that video a second time.
My friend Jake that I used to work with just asked today if we've seen the big rant about Palpatine. And I was like, of course I've seen it. How could I not? You know who I hang around.
This guy has a painting of Alex Jones in his fucking bathroom. Of course he does. Which I know I showed it before. For those of you who don't believe that that exists, I'm throwing that on screen again. Anyway, they were talking about the episode where Alex was responding to the like Civil War edging happening in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex Jones has been a big a critic of Governor Greg Abbott. A content warning for something that I understand is treated as an ableist slur now, which I did not know. Apparently, so during this episode, Alex is talking about how Greg Abbott is doing the right thing with the Texas stuff, despite being somebody he's criticized over his handling of COVID and other things. And Alex then goes on to compare Greg Abbott to Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi. And he's like, I use the cheesy comparison of, Darth Vader in Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, Episode 6. And here's the thing. Here's something you learn about Alex Jones when you listen to Knowledge Fight. Alex constantly talks about how he's not a big fan of Star Wars. And he uses the Imperial March and Duel of the Fates as bumper music all the fucking time. And makes these comparisons constantly. And will name characters that like your average fan doesn't know. Like, and I'm not saying like he's calling out glup shittos, I'm not saying like Alex Jones is bringing up like Therm Scissor Punch, but you don't get to say that you're not that big a fan of Star Wars and then say the words Grand Moff Tarkin. If you even know Tarkin, I'm like, okay, that's impressive. When you use the full title of Grand Moff, you watch these movies more than you're pretending you have. Anyway, and then there's obviously that video that's been going viral of him explaining the plot of the prequel trilogy. Anyway, he's comparing Greg Abbott to Vader at the moment, and he's like describing the scene in such descriptive detail. It's like the moment where he's like electrocuting Luke Skywalker and he goes to pick him up and throw him down the reactor shaft. No, I'm not saying that Greg Abbott is Darth Vader. He's not that powerful. And which was the moment where it's like, I'm never beating the accusations of being obsessed with Alex Jones. Because now he's meat riding Vader as much as I do. He says, I'm not that powerful. Like they are both cripples. But I'm like, what? I'm not comparing him. I'm sorry. He said, I'm not comparing him because I'm not just comparing them because Greg Abbott is a cripple like Darth Vader. And then said that Greg Abbott is not as powerful as Darth Vader. And then he goes on this extended rant and then he takes a beat and then he's like, play the clip. And then you hear like the sound of Palpatine's Force lightning and Luke, Father, please. And it's like, you don't get to be like, oh, this like cheesy comparison that'll help people understand and have the exact moment from Return of the Jedi ready to go. Everybody listen to Knowledge Fight. Everybody listen to Knowledge Fight. By the time I retire, I want there to be a Nerd Academy to Knowledge Fight pipeline.
I hope. Like that whole conglomerate,
But you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram, DarkJedi2552. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you get podcasts, YouTube, and at the nerdacademypodcast.com, where if you want to get your hands on some TNAP merch, go ahead and click that student store link.
T-public.com.
And if you're feeling generous, you can chuck in $1 to our Patreon.
Hey, give me $1.
Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Keandre Lloyd.
Colin Provolone.
sir.
It's so good.
Steal yourself, Colin! Steal yourself!
This is me stealing myself.
And to our dear friend Ray Clausen, who asks that you help keep queer kids safe in the Lone Star State. Speaking of our Patreon, the last episode of Versus Series Season 4 is being released whenever you're watching this show. So if you're not yet a patron, go over, subscribe at the $5 tier, and you can watch all the first 4 seasons of the KNR Versus Series on our Patreon at the $5 tier. I believe it's a $1 tier or the $2 tier, you get access to our Discord, which we're trying to keep more active these days. So you can check that out. And if it's a $10 tier, you get shout outs at the end of every episode. So go check that out. Final episode of season 4 is going to be Kyle Katarn versus General Grievous. And in a KNR versus series first, the episode is not hosted by myself and Spencer Simpson. Spencer is busy with some church stuff. So Eli from In a Galaxy and the commissioner of Epic Confrontations will be pinch hitting for Spencer Simpson in this episode. So I'm very excited for that. I'm going to be recording that once we are done with this show. So stay tuned, subscribe to the $5 tier for that. And then hopefully we're going to get a tournament live stream going for you guys. And I'll do some sizzle now for that. The way we do the versus tournaments is we will post a bracket where all of the losers of season 4 are on one side and all the winners of season 4 are on the other. And they'll all be fighting each other's way through to each other until we arrive at the end. We will determine the winner of that. It's kind of like a speed run, shuffling up all the matchups we had, doing little mini episodes of the Versus series throughout. And whoever has the most accurate bracket for how things turn out will win some free TNAP merch. So subscribe at the $5 tier to listen to the full episode. So you're playing with a full deck of cards for the analysis here. And then we'll be making announcements for when we do that versus bracket. So stay tuned for all of that. I have some cool stuff in the oven that we're going to be doing, namely talking about Dark Disciple, the Star Wars novel that has become very important recently with the trailer we got for season 3 of The Bad Batch. So stay tuned for all of that. Go check out that epic confrontation that Travis was in, kicked ass in. Want to see him playing some more stuff. Yeah, thank you all so very much for watching and listening. And class dismissed.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar.